And you know, if we want to resolve the problems that we have in our community, we're going to have to get the people involved. And I'm here to challenge your minds, people. You know, when I was running for state representative against Robert Reeder, I was at a function and I met some lady. I met a lady there and she said, "You the coach?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Oh, I watch you. When I watch your shows, you make me want to get up and do something." I'm here to challenge your minds, to make you do something, to make you get out and to make you be involved with what's going on in your community. Now, we have a problem with our youth and our young people in our inner city communities, and we have lip service with no substance to address the social and economic conditions of our inner city communities, which is dealing directly with our youth and the conditions that they're faced with. So let me lay out a plan for you. Let me lay out for you Coach Mayden vision for the salvation of our youth, because our youth are at risk. And I've been involved with youth too long to know that if you invest time and energy into our youth, you wouldn't have the problems that we have in our inner city communities. The first thing that we need to do if we want to save our youth from this destructive course that they're on, we need, if the leadership, or let me give you my vision, if I was the watchman of this city and I was dealing with the youth crisis in this city, the murder rates, I would not be on TV parading around like a clown talking about we go march and we're going to fight for handgun laws, because the fact of the matter is, number one, you're not going to change the handgun law, and number two, that's not the problem. What I would do if I was the visionary of this city, I would call a summons of all the church leaders, ward by ward. I would call a summons of all the business, ward by ward. I would call a summons of the schools, the principals, the teachers, and the park district. And I would lay out a plan that says, look, we're going to address this youth crisis within this city. And we're going to address it ward by ward. Out of the 50 wards, I want every church leader within that ward to come to this summons. And we're going to develop youth programs, viable youth programs in each ward, in each community. And we're going to take the members of your church, and for those you business leaders, we go encourage those people that come into your stores, the grocery stores, the hardwares, the businesses in our community. We go encourage them to be involved with the youth. And we go encourage the park district in each ward to be actively involved. And we're going to use the Chicago public schools, since we're hopping on Chicago public students being killed. We're going to identify the schools in each ward, because the kids that are being killed in those wards go to those elementary schools in those wards, in those communities. So we're going to actively recruit those kids while they're in class before school let out. We're going to actively recruit their parents. We're going to actively recruit the community leaders, and we're going to actively recruit the park district supervisors and staff to develop programs and bring it into the schools where all of the kids are gathered. And we're going to implement these programs to save our youth. We got them from 1st through 8th grade in the elementary schools. So what better audience would you have to go into those schools ward by ward as church leaders, as community leaders, as business leaders? What better opportunity would you have to go into those schools and talk with those kids at first, second, third grade and find out what type of programs do you like? What do you want to do? What can we do in your community that's fun for you? And then get the parents involved. Then get the community involved. And then we make funding available to implement these programs. School by school, community by community, and block by block to change the social and economic conditions of our community. And then while we're sitting there talking, rolling our sleeves up, preachers, those of you that's going to get on the bus when the next kid get shot and pray on the bus. Those of you that's going down to Springfield to lobby the legislator for handgun laws. What I want you to do is I want you to come into the schools. This is Coach Mayden vision for our youth. I want you to come into the school and interact with those kids, because all the kids in my 34th ward where I live at, in my 28th legislative district, they go to schools in that community. So what better way to reach out within the community? Will somebody tell me that? And then what you do is you bring the churches into the schools. I didn't say preach to the kids. I'm talking about to find youth programs. And you ask the kids, you talk with the kids, you network with the kids so they get to know you, Mr. Friendly. And then what you do is you get the community leaders, you get the parents, you get the businesses to come and network with these kids and find out what they want. Then you get the people talking about what needs to be done in the community if they were really concerned about the crime in our community and kids being killed, but they're not concerned. This is why they won't do this. And then what you do when you bring all these people together, you have each of those churches, each of those businesses, and each of those community leaders to invest $1,000 annually into youth and after-school programs. Now, if they invest $1,000 into these youth and after-school programs, that comes out to $83 a month. That's your cell phone bill, preacher. That's your cell phone bill, businessman, community leader. That's your cell phone bill. $83 a month would come out to $1,000 a year. Now, if you had, you know, I told you I ran for alderman in the 34th ward against Kerry Austin. And when we looked at the churches in the 34th ward, you have over 100 churches in the 34th ward. Why you need that many churches, I don't know, but I'm not finna, get into that today. But each ward is comprised of roughly 50,000 people, supposedly. Each ward runs roughly about 3 miles, 3.5 miles by 3.5 miles is the basic makeup of a ward. So you got over 100 churches within a 4 square mile radius in the 34th ward. You got about 300 churches in the 28th legislative district in the Chicago. I'm talking about Chicago now. Between the 9th and 34th ward, you got roughly about 300 churches. If these churches would invest $1,000, $83 a month, that's less than $21 a Sunday you can take up from your 4 members you got in your church. You would create over $300,000 from the black churches in each ward, because you got a church on every block, to fund youth and after-school programs within those wards. And if you took 100 businesses within each ward and they invested $1,000 annually or $83 monthly into youth programs within the wards, within the communities for after-school programs, you would create $100,000 from the local businesses to create youth programs. Well, the business owners, well, why should I give my money